Hello. Have you ever gotten to the point in your life where you're just running constant schedules and appointments and places to be and people to meet, and you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go. That's kind of how I was last week. And if you're not careful, you make the mistake of living that way. And that's not a good place to be. I think it's the oldest trick in the book, or one of them anyway, to keep you in a hurry, to keep you going and going and going. There are people that live their life thinking that if they give five different items 20%, they're giving 100%. Well, you're not. You're giving 20%. The other four people don't see the other ones. You're giving 20%. It's a bad place to be, and that's kind of where we were at last week. Looking at the Craig jig. Craig has many jigs. What I was overviewing last week was the pocket hole jig. I don't even think I said that on the video. The whole point in this is to hopefully entertain and review some tools. If I was a guy watching that last week and I was kind of straddling the fence, didn't know if I wanted to buy the pocket jig or not, that video wouldn't have made me decide one way or the other. There wasn't enough information, there wasn't enough close-ups, there was a lot of different things that can do that I didn't even touch on. So I apologize for that. My dad had a name for that kind of whip it out, you know. He called it Slapdash. And I thought when I was a kid that he made that up. I swear that I looked that term up one time and never found anything on it. I thought he made that up. And it turns out it's a thing, it's a word, I guess, or a term, with a definition. That means a lack of attention to quality and lacking in detail. It's quick. It's a brush over. Nobody was ever served well hurrying through something, whether that be a report for work or a school paper or a project or a job. That never did anybody really any good. It's slapdash. The old man was right. And my whole thing with this is, like I said, entertainment and also to learn something or to review a product or a tool. You're not going to get that with slapdash. So being once a week, we can do better than that. So I apologize for that. We're going to slow it down. We're going to do better. If we don't have time for the entertainment portion, maybe the next week we can do just the entertainment portion. But either way, that can't happen what happened last week. So I do apologize. I'm 2 or 3 videos in, and we already got my first apology. And I'm going to stop using the word vintage incorrectly. I'm going to try to. Somewhere along the way, somebody changed the terms, and vintage came to mean old. You see vintage on a lot of flea markets and antique stores. Vintage is more of a season. We covered that in the very first video. So I don't know what to call it now. It's the old stuff, the cool stuff, for me anyway. So I've came up this week. I've come up with the Froe. That's what they called this. And it has a single-use tool, to my knowledge. It was for making cedar shingles. You would have a stump of cedar that you cut with your hand crosscut saw. And I don't know, I suppose anybody could make cedar shingles. But it was predominantly farmers, and they would use a rainy day or a day where they, didn't have a lot else going on, and they'd make some shingles. So you had your cedar stump, you would have your froe, and you whack it with what they call a beetle, a giant mallet. There's a bigger version of that called the commander, which they would use to build the big beamed barns. There's a smaller version, I believe it's called a beetle. But you would whack it, what they called riving shingles, and split the cedar off. And then you had them in rough form, and you would take your draw knife to them. Not always, but you could. It's a draw knife. smooth them out, and then you would have cedar shingles, which was a big step up from the old hay thatched roofs that were incredibly flammable and not very weatherproof back in the day. I don't know, I think that stuff's interesting. You can learn a lot from the old barn building stuff. I don't know that you can do anything with it, but it is interesting. It's interesting to me. Anyway, that's where we're at this week. It's just a short deal. And we've got to do better. Last week was unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. Feel free to give me any comments you have. Do you want to see projects? Do you want to keep on with the reviews? Feedback can be good, but you got to have some of it. So that's where you guys come in. Thanks, and we will see you next week.